How's it going, Bruce? I'm Bobby, and welcome back to Jiangshi x Daoshi. It's been a little while since we played this last, but I did say when we were doing that running is in the background is just going to keep going while I talk, so excuse me for that. I did say when we were covering impressions videos for all the new visual novels that I wanted to cover and had just come out, that whichever one got the most views, I would continue with next. And this one just beat up by the Lay the Beauty to Rest one by like 1 view or something. But a win's a win, so let's carry on, shall we? I did it. I finally managed to off that damn Luan. The man ran joyfully along the mountain path, still clutching the activation switch of the remote bomb. His entire body trembled with excitement. I'm gonna get promoted. Huh? The next moment, the man's arm disappeared, accompanied by gnawing sounds coming from only a few inches away. A single giant leg and an unnaturally large head attached to it emerged from the darkness. A donku was snacking on the man's arm. A group of donku had surrounded the terrified man. And then came a violent scream, followed by the sound of teeth ripping at flesh. Also, this has Japanese voiceover as well. I believe it's Japanese. Which I'm going to be talking over the top of, so I'll have to make it quite quiet. Apologies. Huh? Luan woke up in response to the sunlight caressing his cheeks. Oh, Luan, you finally came too. Ling Ling flashed a smile that outbeamed the sun. Relieved, Luan guided his fingers to the wrist of his other hand. Actually, I'm just going to turn down the desktop audio just a tad. I'm not feeling a pulse. He then realized there was something attached to his head. Is this a seal? What, are you a zombie now? Oh man. Ling Ling's expression clouded over. I'm sorry, Luan. You're already dead. I failed to save you. For real? I'm like seriously dead right now? Luan answered in the same relaxed tone that he usually had. The most I could do is forbid your soul from leaving your body. You have become a Jiangshi. Ling Ling stared at the ground apologetically. Oh, that's fine, don't sweat it. I mean, I don't really mind. I may be dead, but my mind's still my own, and I can move around just fine. I don't see no problem here, Master. I see, death hasn't made you any less flippant. Ling Ling gave Luan an exasperated look, then it tightened her features, and looked him straight in the eye. You may claim to be fine, but that won't satisfy me. For I promise to bring you back to life. Ling Ling puffed out her chest. Her gaze burned with determination, yet those with observant eyes could also perceive a hint of relief in its flames. Thanks, Master. As for what I should do to repay you... Ling Ling's stomach interrupted Luan's voice, demanding an immediate refill. The girl's cheeks blushed slightly. Well, I guess I could start with making something tasty for you to eat. Very well, I'm counting on you, said Ling Ling with sparkling eyes. Did you say weeaboo? Hmm? Am I already showing on this TV contraption? Oh, I am. I've added a so-called dictionary function to the game. It explains all the specific terms of Taoism and such. It's awfully convenient, you know. All you have to do is hover the mouse over the word that puzzles you. Move your cursor over Ling Ling, my name. Don't click it though. You only need to place your cursor over it. I'm sure it's an entry befitting my illustrious pedigree. That said, the dictionary won't work on every single confusing word you chance upon. And at times, it's used on words of little significance. Have fun looking for those kinds of instances. Well then, let us return to the main game now. You must bear witness to my grand deeds and make sure to etch them into your memory. No Dutch cooking. Episode 2. I believe episode 3 just came out, but I haven't bought that yet. Because that one costs money, I believe. So for now, we'll get to the end of episode 2 and see how we're doing. And so we meet again, dearest audience. This time, allow me to begin by explaining the intricacies of Shan. The Shan are sages of untold wisdom that succeed in opening the path to Taiji, the state of ultimate potential within their own mortal coils. Being bound to the Taiji and the limitless power it possesses grants one immortality, as well as invincibility. In short, the person is transformed into an existence of complete indomitability. There are two ways to attain Taiji. One is internal. It requires focus and development of your own ki to attain immortality. Embryonic breathing, which allows one to absorb ki from nature, and Doin Gyoki, which provides a meaning to channel it across one's body, are both training techniques for this method. The Chinese martial art of Tai Chi was originally developed for this purpose. The other method is external. It entails attaining immortality through the use of medicine. It is a form of Chinese alchemy which actually crossed paths with its Western counterparts on several occasions. For example, a Western Taoist scientist called Carl. How do you read this again? A famous psychologist by the name of Carl something Jung and Richard Wilhelm translated the Taoist classic The Secret of the Golden Flower according to adding their own introduction. Cool. The Secret of the Golden Flower frankly almost sounds like the title of a pornographic novel. Jung translates Chinese alchemy as alchemia in his version. Gunpowder, invented in China during the 7th century, is said to have been the fruit of those alchemical pursuits. Yet its biggest alleged achievement was the elixir of life, referred to as Sentan in this particular lore. It was a boon that many emperors and warlords, including the legendary Qin Shi Huang, sought at the cost of their very lives. Did such a concoction truly exist, though? And even assuming that it did, could one truly attain immortality without paying some sort of price? What are the ingredients? Maybe it's just really hard to make? Well then, if I could just receive your full attention. Let us now travel to the front of Luan's abode, consumed by flames just a short while ago. Well, the crib's done for, and my old pals are going to come looking for me, so I guess we might as well pack up and go somewhere far, said Luan, after giving the charred remains of his thoroughly decimated home a languid glance. New version? One could sense the literal coldness in his words. He was now a man, forever robbed of his internal heart. Luan had spent a good chunk of his life at this hideout, yet he displayed not a shred of attachment to it, or rather the concept itself had never existed in him to begin with. The same could have easily been said of humans and life itself. Well, except for the little girl in front of him. Well then, if that is your wish, then seat yourself on the back of my trusty red hair, said Ling Ling, proudly readying her children's bike. For whatever reason, everything about her expression radiated absolute confidence. To put it in more common terms, she looked almost intoxicated. In fact, until a few moments ago, Ling Ling had been desperate to scrub the dirt and soot off her bike. Her efforts were rewarded. The trusty vehicle now sparkled, like it was brand new. Come now, time's a wasting. I like your sense for theatrics, but the one continued, shifting his gaze from Ling Ling to the bicycle. You've yet to learn how to ride that thing, master. The organization thinks I'm dead, so, well, I kinda am, but putting that aside, we should board a train while they're still unaware of what went down here. A train? Asked Ling Ling with her head cocked. En route? Wow, it's so big, look at the size of it, exclaimed Ling Ling, her eyes lit up with excitement. Considering it was her first time seeing a train, one could hardly blame her for getting excited at the sight of what was likely the most intricately designed vehicle she'd ever laid eyes upon. Only the most hardcore of train buffs would have admired this particular mode of transportation with a look so jubilant, perhaps she might have been one in another life. It looks like a dragon made of steel. Are you truly certain that we're allowed to ride it? Do we have enough silver? It looks terribly expensive, Ling Ling noted, her spirit withering like an aged dandelion. Ling Ling was correct. The steel vehicle certainly looked intimidating enough to deserve being compared to a dragon. In her archaic mind, it would have made perfect sense for Tai Xing Lao Jun himself to be riding one. To her, a train looked just about as mesmerizing as a time machine or an intergalactic railroad would have to the modern man. In the real world, a ride only requires plutonium? capable of producing 1.21 gigawatts worth of power, but Ling Ling, of course, had no way of knowing that. Only requires plutonium. Are you fucking... what? We'll be fine, it's not actually that expensive. I'm happy to hear that. Let us board it right away then. Right away, I tell you, Ling Ling exclaimed while pulling Luan's hand. Ling Ling gazed out the train window, a dopey voice escaping her wide open mouth. The scenery is passing us by. Look, Luan, it's incredible. Look how fast it goes. I'm glad you like it. In that moment, Ling Ling took note of the hard, rhythmic, yet strangely pleasing melody of the train wheels against the rails. You can do the noises. Master, why don't you go find yourself a seat? It's almost lunchtime, so we might as well grab something to eat. Very well. And what exactly should we dine on today? Ling Ling looked at Luan with the eyes of a starved beast, or more specifically, the eyes of a hungry little kitten. A sandwich, said Luan as he took one out from the basket and handed it to Ling Ling. A sandwich? Ling Ling gave the unfamiliar dish a scrutinizing look and then took a bite. The next moment, her face bloomed like a flower. Ugh, I know, right? Sandwiches are the best. Then she proceeded to wolf down the remainder of the sandwich with the zeal of a warehouse rat. This wondrous soft texture trapping the ingredients on both sides. That's called bread. And these crunchy vegetables, they're a joy to bite into. And that would be lettuce. The smoky flavour filling your entire mouth. I see you found the ham. And this white gear, it's both sour and sweet at the same time. I've never ever heard of a concoction this rich in flavour. Its taste is remarkable, it truly is. Ling Ling's expression melted as she licked the mayonnaise off her fingers. We call that mayonnaise. It's actually a dish where you mix it with fried shrimp. I can make it for you sometime. You would? I want it today. Nay, tonight. Ling Ling exclaimed as she leaned forward with sparkling eyes. In that moment, the sunlight filtering through the train's window adopted a softer hue, a colour denser than cherry blossoms yet fainter than plums. Beyond the window, they saw an orchard of peaches extending into the distance. Peach trees? They've started shedding their petals, but that does little to impair their beauty, said Ling Ling, with a somewhat wistful expression as she gazed at the sight like it was something straight out of a Tao Yuan Ming peach blossom spring. Flower viewing sounds pretty nice, actually. Tell you what, why don't you come back next year during full bloom, with a basket of sandwiches, you know, just the two of us. Ling Ling's face froze up at Luan's words. Then she promptly fell silent. Guilt, uncertainty and determination vied for dominance in her gaze as she struggled to form her next sentence. What's wrong, Master? Luan, I knew I'd have to tell you sooner or later, but... Ling Ling's turned to face Luan before continuing in a low voice. I only have 1 year to live. And you were God? Luan's face twitched in response to Ling Ling's confession. Really? Yes, said Ling Ling. I have attained an extended lifespan through internal Douyin Gyoki, but I lack the key to reach the full potential of Taiji. My body is at its limit. If nothing is done, it will turn to dust before the year is out. Ling Ling's emotionless face shifted to an apologetic expression as she finished her explanation. So the reason you returned to the mundane realm after 500 years... Aye, it's partly because I was running out of time. Ling Ling directed her gaze at Luan's forehead, but to be more specific, the seal on it. Forgive me. If that happens, my spell will come undone and your soul too will dissipate into the nether. Master. But you need not worry. Ling Ling's expression changed. Determination like a sword pulled from its scabbard now burned in her previously dreary eyes. I couldn't become a Shan through internal means, but I can still do it externally. Externally? You mean like the elixir of life? Over the past month, Luan had learned a fair amount about Taoism. Aye, exactly. I believe Sentan exists somewhere in this world. And I swear to find it. Once I do. Ling Ling smiled. We should go watch the flower petals. Next year as well. Sure thing, Master. I'll prep the kind of lunchbox that'll swipe you off your feet. Luan answered the girl's smile with his own. Oh, do be kind enough to invite me on that trip as well. A woman's voice suddenly rang out in the cabin. Oh, she's definitely evil. Upon turning toward the direction of the mysterious voice, Ling Ling saw a young woman holding a steel fan. I couldn't feel her presence at all. Ling Ling felt cold sweat break out in the back of her neck. If it isn't the Steel Princess herself, long time no see, Sis Yen. Luan revealed the woman's name. Indeed, I'm glad to see you're doing fine, Wooly, Yen answered with a smile of someone who had just run into an old acquaintance by accident. You know her? She's the daughter of my former boss over at the organization. Sis Yen is quite the Shashu herself. An assassin. She feels nothing like the rebel we encountered earlier, though. Are we about to have a shonen battle? So, what brings you here, sis? Just so we're clear, it'd be real nice if you could pretend you never saw us, said Luan, while readying his dagger. He was ready to cut off his old acquaintance's fingers and sever the tendons in her hands, then gouge her eyeballs out to fully neutralize her, if she meant harm to Ling Ling. Luan swore never to kill again, but if the circumstances called for it, he'd not hesitate to answer violence with violence. In which case, merely incapacitating her body might not be enough. Perhaps taking the woman hostage and thoroughly breaking her mind would be needed to prevent any further attempts at revenge. I think it's nicer to kill her. Making her beg for death, renounce everything good that had ever happened to her, or firmly reject all desires to savor the joys of life, to the point where she would regret ever being alive, seems most desirable. Not killing one's enemies didn't necessarily mean showing them kindness, especially in the case of someone like Luan Wu. You need not worry, Willie. The organization won't pursue you any longer. Yen smiled. It looked like a friendly gesture, yet one could feel an undeniable iciness in her voice. Is that true, Lady Yen? Ling Ling asked with relief. Yes, after all. A lightning slash pierced the air. Yen swung her fan mid-sentence. The tip of the blade cut Luan's bandana in half, revealing his forehead and the seal on it. Woolie's already dead. That was so fast. Witnessing Yen's ungodly speed made Ling Ling break out in a cold sweat. Luan, on the other hand, remained unimpressed. So you knew I'd turn to a Jiangshi. I'd appreciate you not underestimating our organization's intelligence-gathering ability. Yen's lips curled into a cunning smile as she began fanning her face with the steel weapon in her hand. You left the organization, and we killed you for it. We don't want anything beyond that. Oh, so sweet. Oh, may I sit over there? Sure. So what'd you come here for, sis? There's a new drug circulating the streets. One that makes the organization concerned. We'd like you and Ling Ling to take care of it. Huh? Why me? And why involve Master? Treating me like a stranger, I say. However, what I'm about to tell you should more than pique your interest. Yen pulled out a bottle with some sort of liquid in it. This is the drug I've been talking about. The ones that drink it turn immortal. Both Ling Ling and Luan reacted to Yen's words. Yen smiled, pausing to enjoy and thoroughly savor the sight, then parted her lips again. Well, feeling more interested now? A little. Asshole. Ad break. I should devote tonight to discussing the intricacies of Sentan. Let us consider existing writings on the subject. As the name implies, there are 9 ways of creating Sentan, inscribed in the Yellow Emperor's Book of Formulas and the Divine Elixir of the 9 Cauldrons. For example, one of the concoctions, called Tanka, consists of regular water, alunite water, realgar water, alunite water, sacred salt, brine salt, alunite, oysters, chishizi, talc and hoo powder. The realgar water mentioned here is better known as arsenic sulfite, hence drinking that will only make you sick. You think? Many other recipes including cinnabar that contain mercury. Oh my god. The ancients likely connected it with immortality because the bodies of those who fell victim to mercury poisoning are slow to decompose. But in reality, all you gain from consuming mercury is a quick death. There are many writings on the subject, but Not even one seems to contain a truly functional elixir of life. All of them are dangerous substances that put your life in danger. However, it is possible that all of them pale in comparison to the danger of the real Sentan. A medicine granting immortality with no repercussions would be too convenient of a thing to exist. I agree with that. Sounds too good to be true to me. Well then, if I could just receive your full attention. Our story continues inside the Galloping Steel Dragon, better known as a train to the modern reader. Yen brought a man, white of muscular, healthy frame. While of muscular and healthy frame, his empty eyes showed no more life than those of a dead fish. Is this the person? Ling Ling asked with a mix of interest and fear. He is the junkie that attacked our organization. Even after receiving 3 bullets to the head from a magnum, he continued fighting like a rabid hound. At one point, though, he suddenly became like this. Oh, he's a bunch of words called void. The man's demeanor betrayed not a hint of conscious will, almost like he was a mannequin devoid of life. Go to Ling. The man obeyed Yen's words quickly and without hesitation. Though with unsteady steps he reacted to the command with nigh uncanny speed, it reminded Ling Ling of an insect automatically reacting to stimuli. Put the bandana back on. He may react to words, but it's like he's completely hollow on the inside. We had a doctor look at him, but he couldn't find anything physically wrong with his body. And apparently his condition has been caused by Taoism. There was a hint of irony in Yen's tone. May I have a look? Go ahead. Let me see. Ling Ling touched the area around the man's belly button. Does that tell you anything? Yen asked. His tanden is gone. The condition looks similar to what happens to those attacked by a Suiko, a being similar to a kappa. Tanden was the common name for 3 places where ki accumulated in humans, between the eyebrows, the chest area, and around the lower abdomen. Countless sources implicated that the mythical ball that Kappa hunted humans for in Japanese folklore was actually the tanden in the lower abdomen. It fueled biological activity and when lost, left humans as mere empty shells. Ling Ling opened the medicine bottle. A sweet scent reminiscent of overripe peaches filled the cabin. The vermilion liquid inside sparkled in hues far more brilliant than blood. It was likely cinnabar. I see. It's all clear now. This is Gitan. Gitan? Luan and Yen both cocked their heads at the unfamiliar word. It's an imperfect sentan. Ling Ling screwed the cap back on the bottle. It can connect your body to Taiji for a limited amount of time. However, it should be used by someone without any training in Taoism. Should it be used, sorry. Their soul would end up sucked in and sealed away the very moment the path to Taiji closed up. Almost like a tsunami washing away all in its path. In short, this guy, Luan spoke in a scrutinizing tone. His very being has been consumed by Taiji. What stands before us now is no more than a hollow shell. Ling Ling made a pained expression. She then looked at the man, seemingly wanting to tell him something. In the end, all she did was lower his gaze and utter a hushed apology. I see. So it was a fake elixir of life. Oh, and feel free to keep the sample for further reference. Keep it for me, Luan. Gotcha, master. Ling Ling almost forcefully pushed the bottle into the young man's hands. In contrast to the girl's choppy motions, Luan took the medicine with the fluidity and precision of a bomb expert handling a detonator before carefully placing it in his pocket. Ling Ling felt anger toward the concoction that robbed people of their very being. Luan, on the other hand, evaluated it in a more objective manner, appreciating its utility. So then, I'd like you to destroy the factory that produces this drug. Would you be interested in taking the job? There's not much we can do without the power of Taoism. That sounds like a major pain in the neck. Why should we? Very well, we shall do it. I will not stand idly by as they spread such evil in the world. Lady Yen, I swear upon the name of cousin Daoshi Ling Ling that those miscreants will receive their punishment they rightfully deserve. Ling Ling exclaimed with her holy sword held aloft. Luan looked at Yen like he was about to say something. Noticing his gaze, the woman broke into an amiable smile. Well, I won't protest if that's what Master wants. I mean, we're doing it, obviously. Dog. Why dog? Why is dogs at 8 PM? That's late for a dog. Milky white limestone lined the eroded mountain surface. It stood as a reminder of a period beginning as early as the heyday of the peculiar Burgess shales, creeping, crawling organisms back in the Paleozoic era, and lasting until the Mesozoic age, dominated by building-sized dinosaurs that ruled the land as its undisputed masters. These days, however, there were no more dazzling corals adorning the reefs. If anything, one would only make himself look a fool if he chose to wear a swimsuit there. Similarly, erecting beach houses in the area would be nothing short of a colossal marketing blunder. After all, the place was a mountain valley far removed from the nearest shore. A prefab around these parts would be more akin to a mountain hut rather than a beach hut. There were no huts to be found here though, only a factory for transforming limestone into cement. Only giant machines made of metal, old and weathered like the skin of a woman in her 30s, and crumbling concrete walls remained here, forgotten by time itself. Right now they produce something different from cement. Sir, we've received our new shipment of models. The man making the report was holding a gun. 2 girls stood in front of him. Teens by the looks of them. Fairly attractive ones too, though it might have been a little early to call them beauties. Rather than gorgeous bouquets decorating a lavish room, they evoke the simple charm of wildflowers on the roadside. You either appreciate them from afar or pluck them to take them with you. Very good. Bring in the filming equipment, answered a muscular man in a working uniform, the alleged supervisor. Calling him intimidating would have been an understatement. He radiated the nigh palpable aura of animalistic savagery. On top of that, his eyes gave off a sly, cruel glint. Why'd you bring us here? Asked one of the girls in a sheepish voice. Despite the visible distress in her eyes, she stood chivalrously in front of the other, smaller girl to defend her. Sis? The smaller girl clutched her sister's legs while trembling like a leaf. Pretty sure I gave you the lowdown when I approached you on the street. You become idols on par with Talmi, Nyan Nyan. We're prepping for a promo shoot right now. The deafening roar of a chainsaw interrupted the man's monologue. The girl's countenance turns ghastly, pale, the moment they saw the abominable instrument. There are plenty of folks with what I'd call unfortunate conditions, you see. Their reproductive organs won't react unless they see cute girls being sliced into pieces. Luckily, they're also filthy rich. Okay, that's fucked. The supervisor clutched the head of one of the girls and made her face him. Relax, you won't technically die if you drink this. We can do this as many times as we want. We can turn your arms, legs, head, body, and everything else into mincemeat and you still won't die. Don't worry, I'll make absolutely sure to get everything on film. Your brain, eyes, liver, stomach, womb, even your flayed skin. With that, the man drew the bottle of guitar closer to the girl's lips. No. Ignoring the screams, the men amused themselves with idle chatter, like they were in front of a water cooler. Using this stuff for snuff films was a stroke of goddamn genius. A snuff film was an illegal type of movie in which a person was actually murdered on screen. The shit makes you immortal, but it takes just one dose to lose your mind. It's worse for business than heroin. Yeah, which is why the boss figured we should use it to film kidnapped women instead. We can make the kind of films that would be impossible to shoot with normal humans, and the sick fucks who would line up to pay a fortune for them. The women becoming obedient puppets after filming is just the cherry on top. We can traffic them for sex trade or even cut them up and sell off their organs for a pretty penny. Unlike other drugs, this shit doesn't fuck up your insides. That said, you think the boss got permission to do this from the Daoshi that gave us the recipe? I really doubt it. That won't get us all killed, will it? Their chatter finally caught the attention of the supervisor. Hey, what are you spacing out there for? Roll the camera, you adults. Sorry, boss. The men hurriedly readied the camera. Bunch of useless fucks. In that moment, the supervisor's ringtone broke the silence, completely destroying the tense atmosphere in the factory. Hello? Nice to meet you, Mr. Supervisor. A seductive woman's voice tickled the man's eardrums from the other end of the line. My name's Yen. The Steel Princess? How'd you get my number? I'd appreciate you not underestimating our organization's intelligence gathering ability. Why do you always say that? More importantly, I have some news that may heavily concern you. Yeah? It's about a certain group of operatives dispatched to your location. One of them is a Daoshi. I'll have to charge for the rest. What will you do? Daoshi. The situation smelled of danger, the supervisor thought. He instantly came to a decision but made sure to spend some time making a show of worry. Acting too interested would have made the deal more expensive, especially since he decided not to waste time on haggling. If worse came to worse, the woman, driven by her dissatisfaction with the price, may have decided to sell the information in smaller portions, which had the potential to cost even more in the long run. Of course, there was no guarantee she'd outright reveal everything anyway. However, both parties found it more desirable when the other willingly lowered the price instead of having to be asked. A minor thing by all accounts, yet the fact that the supervisor could make these decisions in the span of seconds was precisely the reason he'd been assigned to this role. How much? 30,000 yuan. Alright, I'll take it. Pleasure doing business with you. He'd write down 50,000 in the account book. As he was thinking that, the supervisor received the information from Yen. Hey, jackoffs, filming's postponed. There are 2 fools on the way to this place. We will have our fun after we've taken care of them. Boo. The men groaned in discontent and drew away from the already undressed girls. The supervisor gave the trembling but somewhat relieved girls a look. Well, isn't this just peachy? You get to live for a few more hours, thanks to a pair of idiots with an inflated sense of justice. Then you worry though. I'll shove their decapitated heads up your cunts later, literally. Holy fuck. The man let out a roaring cackle and left the room. Wow, this is fucked. Well, that just got demonetized. The sisters clung to each other as they continued to tremble. What is the following scene? I don't think I want to know, frankly. Don't tell me. Can we skip the following scene, actually? In fact, we need to wrap this one up because we're out of time for this episode. So, we will continue this in the next one, and hopefully that won't get any worse than what it already is. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.